In 2014, Brampton author J.L. Richardson saw a gap in Canadian publishing. South of the border, concerns were being raised about the lack of diversity at American literary events and in American publishing. But here in Canada, the same problems existed, with little discussion about how they would be addressed. The publishing industry lacked diversity in Canadian book lists, and many literary events reflected a systemic problem. So, Richardson launched Canada's first festival centering diverse authors and storytellers, set in Brampton, Ontario, the Festival of Literary Diversity, with Leonika Valsius serving as the festival's first board chair. In May 2015, Richardson announced the festival publicly on Metro Morning, marking the beginning of a major change in Canada's literary scene. But the idea was not without challenges. As a city just outside of Toronto, Brampton was a new destination for many book lovers. So convincing people to attend was an obstacle of its own.
The first feedback forums repeatedly asked for us to move the Fold to Toronto.
The Fold was one of Brampton's first events intentionally targeting audiences outside the city and across the country. So there was also the challenge of figuring out hotels and airport pickups, with no municipal precedent to follow. Helping Richardson lead the Fold through these challenges was Amanda Leduc, a disabled author with experience in fundraising and disability justice, and notable books of her own. Leduc joined Richardson months before the inaugural event, leading the marketing strategies and communication components with incredible insight and skill, forming a bond as co-workers and authors who were looking for this kind of community.
What I remember most is going down to my basement and connecting with Amanda, who was there. And I remember the two of us crying. I remember saying, I thought it could be good, but I didn't know it could feel like that.
Since 2016, the festival has grown exponentially, moving to a larger space in City Hall and eventually finding a home at Brampton's prestigious Rose Theatre in 2019. Thanks to Leduc's insight and innovation, along with a host of festival advisors from the disability community, the Fold became the first Canadian festival to guarantee captions at all events and commit to further increasing accessibility at the festival every year to better serve disabled, deaf, and hard-of-hearing readers and writers.
I think there can be a tendency, especially in arts programming, to forget that disabled people have just as much right as non-disabled society to be in these spaces. The reality is that we all have needs that deserve to be met. And at the Fold, ensuring that we strive for accessibility on all levels is a way of ensuring and promoting that these needs must be met in the literary and publishing communities as well.
In 2019, the Fold also expanded to include a children's festival, Fold Kids Book Fest, a move designed to generate interest and support for Canadian kidlit writers from marginalized communities. Joining the team in 2020 was Ardo Omer, whose experience in festival work and passion for Canadian literature for young people helped the festival improve supports and resources for Canadian educators and authors.
We rely on American writers a lot in our classrooms, and we want Canadian kids to see themselves in amazing writers right here in Canada telling our stories.
But the Kids Festival is just one of many ways the Fold has become a leader and innovator in the field.
The coronavirus is a pandemic.
When the pandemic hit in March 2020, leaving 30 events and 40 authors in flux, Richardson and Leduc had to move the entire festival to Zoom, a platform they had used for their yearly Fold Academy writing series. In just 6 weeks, they moved an in-person festival plan online, attracting more than 4,000 people from around the world to their first free event, with the help of a phenomenal volunteer planning team. a move which became a critical and defining moment in the evolution of the festival.
I think the best part about moving to a virtual platform was seeing the kinds of people who could participate in the Fold now who hadn't been able to participate in it before, whether it was because of finances or geography. And I think that made us want to lean in even harder and to focus on how we could create a virtual experience that allowed for that same connection and community that we had come to create and prioritize at our in-person events.
In 2021, the 6th anniversary of the festival, the Fold, still deep in the throes of a global pandemic, launched a brand new festival platform which allowed guests to chat with publishers, agents, and organizations, and to meet with other virtual attendees. In so doing, they began to build a virtual experience for readers, writers, educators, and students in an innovative environment. This year, the Fold returns to the virtual platform with new and exciting improvements, including a mobile app that allows more people to view events in more places. But the year marks another important transition, a return to in-person events, which will also be live-streamed on the virtual platform. It's a model they plan to build on for years to come.
I think we always want to start virtually and to have an opportunity for folks to tune in that way. But we also want to wrap up the festival in Brampton. Brampton is a city that I love. We love having the festival here because Brampton, like our authors, is often underrepresented in the world. And while we'd love for everyone to at some point be in Brampton and experience it in person, we want to make sure that people can tune in every year, no matter where they find themselves in the world, that they can find great authors, great books, and great conversation, and especially great community.